Hi, welcome back to another Mobile Sunshine. I've been looking into the depositions again on Peter Hacket with the Gilgo case. It's very vital to get all the information that I need to analyse what happened to Shannon. I don't think it was possible for Shannon to accidentally die, which means that someone's responsible for that, and it does raise me to think, who is it? Because I know that Pac didn't pass the lie detector now. Peter Hacket had so many inconsistencies in his statements. He didn't phone the Suffolk County Police. He didn't phone Shannon's phone, considering like he was desperate to find her, because he already knew she passed away. And I agree with that. So I asked Grok Free, because I'm on Twitter, go and follow me under Mobile Sunshine, at Evie Vitali, okay? It says, I asked, do you feel there is more than one killer in the list case? And it says, the Long Island serial killer list case, also known as Gilgo Beach killings, has sparked debate over whether or not the perpetrators are responsible. Okay, well, whatever, we know. Okay, evidence supporting a single killer of the Gilgo 4. Just 4. Maybe he was responsible for 4 on his own, and he meow. Similarities in the victimology and method. The Gilgo 4 were all petite women in their 20s working as workers, and found wrapped in burlap, bound similarly, and placed within a quarter of a mile of each other on Ocean Parkway. This consistent modus operandi MO strongly suggest one individual, the use of the burner phones to contact the victims, and in some cases taunt their family. Example, Melissa Bartholomew's sister further ties these cases together. So goes on. Rex Hueremann arrest was in July of 2023. Rex Hueremann was charged with the murders of the Gilgo 4 with DNA evidence, including his wife's hair, found on 3 victims. His wife's hair, listen to that. Okay. And his own DNA on a pizza crust. So they linked the DNA together, and cell phone data linking him to these crimes. His ownership of the Chevy Avalanche, matching the witness description of Amber Costello's case, strengthens this connection and consistency of the evidence. Now this is what makes me think that it is Rex involved, but maybe it's not just Rex, you know. But he has been charged for Jessica Taylor and Valerie Mack and Costello, and the MO's difference. Now I'm going to read this, so you know. Evidence suggesting multiple killers for other victims, okay? Difference in MO. Beyond the Gilgo 4, other remains, example, Jessica Taylor, Valerie Mack and Sandra Costello, and unidentified victims like Peaches, an Asian male, show variations. Some were dismembered and found in different locations, example Manorville, miles from Gilgo Beach, unlike the intact burlap wrapped 4. Dismemberment and geographic spread suggests a different approach, possibly indicating another killer. John Bittroff. As a suspect, John Bittroff convicted murdering of two of them, Risa Tangredi and Colin McNamee, 93 to 94, was a list suspect on the list suspect case, right? So we have so far John Bitroff, Jim Bassett, Peter Hacket, and Rex Hueremann. These are 4 possible suspects so far. Okay, linked to victims, the remains of 6 additional victims, including the Asian male and toddler, have not been definitely tied to hueremann. I don't know that. I don't think this is up to date. Why isn't this up to date? The lack of DNA or matching MO, example no bail app, different disposal method, suggests these. I mean, he's read this book. I've got a copy. He's read this book, right? Now, if he's read this book, he'll know to change his ammo. Okay, I mean, I'm not smart like him either. You know, I'm just saying. Where was I up to? Okay. Shannon Gilbert case. Shannon Gilbert's death initially ruled as an accident drowning. Okay. But contested by her family remains controversial. Her body was found in the marsh on Oak Beach. I sort of looked at the marsh and looked up if there was any people who had been hurt. I don't know if you've watched all the videos, but I looked up if there was any possibility that anybody else has had that incident in 100 years. No. Okay? So you can't be, there's no like mud holes, you know, like sinking sand or anything like that, like in the Texas one. Okay, it's just I've been comparing marshes and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, remains controversial. Her body was found in the marsh in Oak Beach. Separate from the Gilgo 4, investigators have stated it's likely not connected to the risk. It is. This introduces the possibility of an unrelated incident or a different perpetrator. Now, it could be. And also what we've got to bear in mind, that Michael Peck didn't pass that lie detector. Twice. He didn't pass it. Twice. If you want me to prove it, Michael Peck. Now, John Ray took the deposition. I feel if he didn't jump to conclusions a bit, he could have got more out of this. Sorry, just the way I feel. It is I've read it. I mean, because it's in writing, it seems very hard to get an idea of what they're saying, what they're thinking. Yeah. When did you administer the polygraph? How long after you first arrived at the building was your first polygraph? You know, I wish you'd asked me all these questions like years ago, because now I don't know. I'm sorry, do your best. I would guess around 2 hours, I guess. Before you had the test, had you eaten anything or had given any lunch or snacks, anything of that sort? They must have, you know, because I was there a long time. So they fed him, he just lacked in sleep. It's normal to lack in sleep. That's why he's telling us he didn't pass the test. He didn't pass the test, okay? Did some police officer tell you? And he's lying. Did any police officer tell you that you passed the test in any way? I don't remember. After the second test, did you continue to the interrogation? So, yeah, he admits. Did some police officers tell you, or words to that effect, that you couldn't get an accurate reading for various reasons? And his answer, pretty sure, yeah, cannot get an accurate reading, so it was void. So he didn't get an accurate reading. So while I was going around saying he passed it, he didn't pass anything. He had 2 and didn't pass. Not explicitly, not literally, no. So they didn't tell me passed. Did any police officer tell you you passed the test in any way? I don't remember. You see, this is it. People say, oh, we did a lie detector test and stuff like that, but people aren't saying he passed. People are just saying he did a lie detector, which could be signified that he's telling the truth, but he isn't. He didn't come up with anything. So I would like to know what questions he was telling the truth on and what he wasn't. How long between the first test and the second test? It was right away. When you told me, am I quite accurate? I'm on medication, and yeah, I can understand why that affects it. You know, being on something as heavy as venlafaxine as a anxiety medication or something. But he's got no medical problems. I go through all this. He's got no medical problems. His only client was Shannon that night. He's not admitting to running other prostitutes around who were getting killed, but Shannon just happened to be the one who's caught, in my opinion. Anyway, let's go back to GPT. Okay. Her body was found in the marsh near Oak Beach, separate to Gilgo Cae. The investigators have stated not likely connected to Lisk, introduced the possibility of an unrelated incident and a different perpetrator. Corruption and investigation delays. Suffolk County Police, under the Chief of James Burke, face criticism for obstructing FBI involvement. Now, they're not mentioning who this person is, but there's a person who was very close to James Burke, and that's why he was thrown off the case. And that's strange to me. I mean, who is he familiar with? Speculation or corroboration. Some online discussions, like those on Reddit, propose a group of killers or a hostile like scenario. I think so as well. But there's no concrete evidence to support the coordinated effort. I think his inconsistencies on a statement of Peter Hacket's enough. He lied about calling Suffolk County. He lied about Shannon Gilbert. He lied about having a house over the road to use. He lied about having a home for wayward girls. Who says that when a girl goes missing? For Gilgo Cae, the evidence is strongly points to a single killer, likely a Rex human, given the consistent MO and DNA. But you just said it's inconsistent. The cell phone data, however, the broader Lisk case, including dismemberment members' remains and victims' case like Costello's and Taylor's and Max show enough variation in method and locations to suggest at least one other killer. Okay, this is what this is saying. I mean, I'm not the only one who thinks it now. Even they've got all the AI has all the information, doesn't it? So I asked it a question, a simple question about, is anyone else involved? And it's given me the answer yes. Possibly Bitroff or non-identified individual. Yeah. The region's history as a dumping ground and the lack of definitive links to human for additional 6 bodies support this. Without further DNA or forensic evidence, it's hard to be certain, but the case likely involves a primary killer for the Gilgo 4. Now I reckon that's so. I reckon, yeah. And one more thing, I think his daughter, was she born 96? No, she's older than that, isn't she? I think she's the same age as my sister, I'm not sure. Hang on. Shannon Gilbert was 2010. I think she would have been 16 or something like that. I don't know if that's the girl in the background in that call. Could have been her. You know what I mean? It just seems weird, like a little girl. Like, I mean, at 16 I sound like a child. You know, it just seems like a little girl's voice on that audio that I showed you, yeah. Other long eyes serial killers. Let's see what names it gives. Long Island has documented history of multiple serial killers operating over the years, often target similar victim profiles, example sex workers, and using regions remote areas like Ocean Parkway as a dumping ground. Here are the key figures, their crimes, and their potential connections to the list case. Joel Rathklin, 1989 to 1993, crimes convicted of murdering 9 women, though he confessed to 17, making him one of the New York's most prolific serial killers. I've not heard of him. Why hasn't no one mentioned him? Rathken dismembered many of his victims and scattered their remains across the locations like Hudson River, East River and other bodies of water, using some on Long Island. It's pretty strange how he uses that method, Blisk as well, isn't it? It's like he's a bit of a copycat killer. East River and other bodies of water, including some of Long Island. For example, Heidi Blatcher's head was found in a paint can in New Jersey, her legs further north, and her torso in East River. Just seems to me very mafioso, chopping someone up. In connection to this, Rathken's active period ended in 93, before most Lisk victims disappeared. While some of the earlier Lisk-related remains of Sandra Costello, killed in 1993, fall within the timeline of Rathken, was in custody by the time most Lisk victims were killed. The lack of burlap and the difference in disposal methods, Rathquin often used bodies of water, make it unlikely he was directly involved with Gilgo Cae. However, his active suggests Long Island was a dumping ground for multiple killers, supporting the possibility that Lisk's additional victims, example, dismembered remains, could be the work of someone else. Robert Sulm, crimes convicted of murdering 5 sex workers in Long Island between 91 to 95. His victims included an unidentified woman. Shulman beat and dismembered his victims in his Hicksville apartment, disposing of their bodies in a dumpster or remote areas, often removing hands to prevent fingerprint identification. He died in prison in 2006. Scholl's MO involved a blunt force trauma and dismemberment, with bodies often left in a dumpster or in a wood area. Not similar, isn't it? Differing from the Gilgo Cae. Okay, the Gilgo Cae are just 4 of the victims. There is a lot more. Connection of Shulman's active period overlaps with the alias Lisk-related murders of Sandra Costello, his residence in Hicksville near Manorville, where some Lisk remains were found, and his targeting of sex workers led to the speculation about this link. However, his distinct MO, dismemberment or burlap, and the death in 2006 makes him unlikely candidate for the 4 killings, which continued until 2010. Now, I don't know if he killed afterwards. Do you know what I mean? He stopped killing, just got tired, just got sloppy, or don't know. He could, however, be responsible for early dismemberment remains like Costello's, through definitive evidence links him to Lisk. No, because we now know Costello's evidence was different man. We know of John Vitroff, 93 to 94. I'm just going to be a second, a minute, I just need to go to the toilet. I'll read some of this book to you as well. Mind on top. That's the one they found on his table. I haven't got the one they had when I was 17. It's a new version, I've had to buy it. What do you want? Alright, get some biscuits. Excuse me a second. Sort of food for thought, isn't it? Like, who is this person? You know, I mean, is this DNA, John Vitroff's DNA, on the victim? Is it possible that the wood chippings could have come from anywhere? Crimes convicted in 2017 of the murder of 2, right, Colin and respectively. He was also suspect of murder of Sandra Costello, which is now attributed to Rex. Bischoff lived in Manorville, where partial remains of Lisk victims Jessica Taylor and Valerie Mack were found. I wonder how far from his home it was. Was he settled up? Did someone want him out of the network? I don't know. He was arrested in 2014 based on DNA evidence, so okay, what was that DNA evidence? As you found out, mitochondrial DNA is the DNA outside of your skin. So that's what they caught with Lisk. Wasn't blood, wasn't semen. It wasn't anything like that. So that just shows you how long your mitochondrial DNA lasts. Connection to Lisk. Bischoff was the key person of interest in the Lisk case due to the proximity of Manorville and the timing of the kills, which overlap with early Lisk-related murders in the Suffolk County of DA. The DA has stated there is no evidentiary or investigative link between Bischoff and the Gilgo 4, but his involvement in Costello's murder was considered until Hueremann in 2024 was charged with that crime. The dismemberment of Taylor and Mack was found in Manorville, aligning more with Bischoff's geographical area than Hueremann, so it's closer to Bischoff. Suggests it could be responsible for these killings. The difference in MO between Gilgo 4 and Manorville remains support of multiple killer theory of the Board of Lisk cases. Richard Cottingham, from 1996 to 2008, crimes known as the Torso Killer. Cottingham was convicted of 12 murders, though he was confessed to up to 100, with the 5 linked to the Long Island between 1972 to 1973, Mary Beth Hines, Levine Moy, Sheila Heilman, Henrietta Rosado Naves, and why do people have such difficult names? Diane Cusack. He mutilated his victims and often removing the head and hands, targeted S workers and other vulnerable women. He's serving a life sentence, so he's still alive. MO. Mutilation and dismemberment align with some Lisk victims, example of Jessica Taylor, Valerie Mack, but his active period ended in 1980. Predates most Lisk murders. His victims were not wrapped in burlap, and his crimes spanned New York and New Jersey. Connection to Lisk. The timeline makes him unlikely to be involved in the Gilgo murders. However, his dismemberment of victims' activity on Long Island raised questions about whether he could be linked to alien remains, such as those found in Hampstead Lake Park of Peaches. No direct evidence ties him to Lisk, but his presence underscores the Long Island history as serial killers' dumping ground. There's actually a lot of serial killers I've got to go through. Yeah. See, I'm thinking there's a lot of predators who's just not been caught here. It could be just that. and people know each other, and there's a lot of people knowing this. It wouldn't surprise me. You know, the name Gambino was mentioned, who lived in Oak Beach. They're not going to say anything. You know, crime family. You know, connection to organised crime, probably trafficking in his network. You know, I'm not sure how the mafia works, but, you know, I mean, I know the name Gambino. You know, and she's living in Oak Beach. Some people saying her life's around and things of that nature, who knows, but someone knows about Shan. Someone knows what happened to her. The presence of these serial killers, particularly Rifkin and Sulman and Bitroff, supports the hypothesis that multiple perpetrators could be responsible for the broader set of remains in the List case. Here's how they tie into the question of whether there's more than one killer in the List case. Okay. Geographic and temporal overlap. List, especially areas like Ocean Parkway and Manorville, has been a dumping ground for multiple serial killers. Rifkin, Sulman, Bitroff were active in the early 90s, overlapping the early List-related murders. Example, Rita Costello in 1993, the region's dense vegetation, and it is dense, you know, and the remote beaches made it ideal for the disposal of bodies, suggesting that multiple killers could be operated independently. Because the MOs are different, you know. But then, I don't think people weren't aware that Shannon was in Hackett's garden, basically, in the marsh, behind him. Yeah, it might have not been cut down to the degree it is. How could she drown? How is that ever possible? There's not one death happened there, and all of a sudden Shannon drowns. It makes zero sense. I'm not insulting the police, I'm just saying that it can't be possible. Example, Manorville, Hempstead and Lake Park align with more with the MO of Bitroff or Sulman. Okay. Asian male and toddler baby doe further deviate, with the male showing blunt force trauma and the toddler showing no trauma, suggesting they may not fit any single killer pattern. Bitroff is a key suspect. Bitroff, convicted in 93 to 94 murders in Manorville residence, makes him a strong candidate of dismembered remains. But humans charged with it, so it's not possible. Taylor and Mack were charged to human. Difference: Manorville's version Ocean Parkway dismemberment, intact victims, suggests that Bitroff could still be responsible for some of these. The Suffolk County DA statement of no evidentiary link to Gilgo Cae doesn't rule out Bitroff involvement in other List-related deaths. Historical context: the activity of Rafkin and Sulman and Cottingham in the early decades show List Island's appeal to serial killers, likely due to its mix of suburban isolation and proximity to New York City sex trade. This supports the idea that List's case could involve multiple perpetrators, as the region has historically attracted such offenders. When I think about it, they all have the same type of design. You know, they're targeting women who can't fight back, you know, women who possibly have drug problems, won't say that they won't do that. How do you know what position they're put in? They're advertising themselves on back pages. So that to me is like you're opening yourself up to some crazy, deprived stuff. Okay, my take on multiple killers in the list case. The evidence strongly ties human to the Gilgo 4 with consistent MO DNA, his wife's hair, his pizza crust DNA, and the cell phone data burner phones used to contact the victims. However, the broader list case is likely to involve at least one other killer, given the MO variation, dismemberment of Taylor, Mac and Peaches, and the different disposal sites, Manorville, Hampstead. In consistent contrast, I'm going to read that again. The different disposal sites, Manorville, Hampstead, Hampstead as well, right? Contrast with the Gilgo 4 intact burlap wrap bodies along Ocean Parkway. There's a difference, obviously. Bitroff's role, his Manorville connection and the MO beating, strangulation, no burlap, align better with the dismemberment victims than Huereman's. Okay. While Hueremann is charged with Taylor Mac, Bitroff remains a plausible suspect for these or other unsolved cases. Okay, is that because we haven't got the DNA yet? You see, we've got the DNA of another man on Bitroff's victim, so who's that other person? Bitroff remains a plausible suspect in these other unsolved cases. Historical precedents, Rafkin, Sulman and Cottingham's activities show multiple killers have used Long Island, making it a reasonable that this case could have involved separate perpetrators. Unresolved cases, the Asian male, toddler and Vergottas remains lack clear links to Hueremann, suggesting other offenders or related incidents. Interesting. Could one killer have evolved their MO? It's possible. Serial killers like Ed Camper change methods over the time, but the shift from dismemberment in 1990s to 2000s to intact burlap burials of 2007 to 2010 is significant. Hueremann alleged planning documents listing remove head and hands connects to dismemberment victims like Mac, but geographical temporal gaps make it more likely that another killer, example Bitroff, handled earlier murders. It's a possibility. Conclusion: Long Island history of serial killers. Joel Rafkin, Robert Sulman. Such a small place. I've had so many serial killers. Oh gosh, that's just so shocking. John Bitroff and Richard Cottingham and Richard Angelo and Fernandez Beck demonstrate the region's vulnerability to such crime, supporting the theory that this case involves multiple killers, while Rex Hueremann is likely the sole perpetrator of the Gilgo 4 and the dismemberments of Mac and of Mac and Taylor. Peaches, I don't know if the DNA's found on her. Or a child, have they found the DNA? Asian male, toddler, I don't know what that means. There's an Asian male dressed as a woman. There's no Asian male toddler. Suggests at least one or other killer with Bitroff as a strong candidate due to his Manaville connection and MO. The difference in the victims see, that's the thing. Okay, why would Bitroff leave them right outside his door? I don't get that bit. Right outside his back. Why didn't he bury them? He's a very polished individual. He's got a beautiful house. He's a well put together individual, unlike Hueremann. You know, he's got carpentry skills. He builds his own house. What sort of man who builds his own house behaves like that? That's still about. Maybe he had intercourse, and this is why he's linked. Yeah, and I'm just going to focus on the MO and also other aspects. I've been looking into the Peter Hacket deposition. It's crazy. It's so inconsistent. The statement from Hacket. I'm surprised he wasn't charged. Was it because he was a doctor? And I've read most of Thomas Canning's. It's going to take me forever reading this, because he's very particular on what he talks about, John Ray, and maybe he's going to get to the crunch, because I've read up to like page 100 now, and the awful thing is I've got to go like this every time, you know. I don't know if I can just go page down like that. No. But it's great. I'm grateful to have these documents to make an analysis of sorts, so ChatGPT can get updated, possibly, you know. I think the interview Thomas Canning is to get background on Hacket, and he did basically ask the right questions. He always does. He's a very good solicitor, you know. I've got a very good memory, but John Ray's something else. Oh, inconsistencies, he noted. His wife runs a rehab centre, rehabilitation, not for people with drugs, but for people who are going through trauma, perhaps, and stuff like that. And that's the only thing. And Canning, his wife, does as well, but she works in the office. You think I'm skipping past a lot, but I've just read it all so I could tell you. But the thing is, At this point, John Ray knows that Jim Bassett's killed himself, and he's questioning that. Is it over the Gilgo Fall that he did it, and things like that, because it was at the same time Shannon was found. It does look guilty. It does to me. I mean, why didn't did they rule him out? How did they rule him out? Can we know? You know? I just want to get to an interesting bit. I've read all this boring stuff. It's about how they know each other, what jobs do what. He's a landscape gardener. In my opinion, landscape gardeners have a very good opportunity to hide bodies, like architects have. You know, like road builders have, electrician who's putting wires down has. You know, you build all that connection together and an association. It's protection, isn't it? On another level. She got what she deserved, type of attitude. How dare she come here tainting our gated community type of attitude. And that's the impression you're getting here. You know, when you read these statements. There's more of an embarrassment to put flyers up. Like Gambino's wife didn't want them putting flyers up of someone being murdered there, because there's been so fucking many. Eh? Nothing done about it. It's too much fucking corruption. He talks about an incident where Hacket took a piece of a bush out of his ear. He laid him on the table to do it. And I think that's what he did to Shannon. He laid her on the table. Whatever he did, whatever, I don't know. That's what he said to people that he treated her in his own home, on his own table. It's just weird. And then he denies it outright to John Ray. It's just something in it, isn't it? You know. He's talking about a lot of the community, the network, how he does the gardens. He was into buying estates, helping people with the house and stuff. You know, you can be a nice person and a nasty person as well. It's what people forget. Did you come to learn that Bruce Anderson gave a statement regarding the disappearance of Shannon? And he has no idea about that. So Bruce gave that statement without telling anyone. Did Dr. Hacket acquire a television from that house that was vacant? I don't know. When did you first meet Charles Peter Hacket? On the road, I don't remember the date. You met him in the 90s. Just want to give that and get you. He was the head of medical services for Suffolk County as well. So why didn't he phone of Suffolk County over Shannon? Do you know why? Because he didn't want them sniffing around. And also, he knew she was dead. like his wife is friends with Peter Hacket's wife as well. He seems the only person who seems to be telling the truth so far in this. But he's very vague and also very defensive. You know, just crazy, really. I mean, why are you so defensive? It's talking about when he got the bush out of his thing. I'm just trying to scan through it because I want to see, you know, why it's so long. It must be more. He also talks about how Peter Hacket used to give him cough syrup and things like that when he was ill. And I feel because he had a prescription pad, he must have had, I reckon he had some kind of addiction, and that's why he was behaving in that way. Who knows? I mean, it does sound possible. That I can believe if he's got like some kind of medical addiction, like to codeine, that you say things that you don't fucking mean. Like, I can understand that, but what I don't get is like him being perfectly normal and saying this shit and thinking it's. Someone needs to give this man a lie detector. I mean, Hackett. I think he refused one though, didn't he? He keeps mentioning hydrocodone and what's the other one? Oxycodone. So I have a feeling there's a rumour that Peter Hacket was handing that out. Maybe that's what Shannon had, and she had a panic attack. Don't know. Still don't know. Excuse me stomach, but I'm always fucking hungry. Food is so expensive in UK at the minute, and don't tell my daughter, but I only have one meal a day just so I can manage it. It's got really bad. I'm just taking the curry out the freezer. We're having curry. I make a whacking amazing curry. I do. I'm making fabulous curry. I make good Jamaican food as well. Better than any Jamaican. No, I'm joking. Now, my brother's foster parent used to cook him loads of that. He was from Nigeria, so he used to cook lots of like pig's trotters and stuff like that. Actually, I love it, and do you know what? I don't eat it. I just eat the sauce, you know, because I don't eat meat really. No, I do love it hot, spicy food, me. I'm trying to learn how to make beans. Like, I want to make beans, because these type of foods, I hope, aren't tampered with. So, I'm very, very careful about what food's touched by the Bill Gates hand and World Food Organization and things like that. Be very careful how you eat, what food you're eating these days. I swear to God, it scares the life out of me. That's why I don't eat meat. It says here in email, did you ever communicate with anyone whatsoever regarding Shannon Gilbert and or her disappearance? Oh God, I don't any information at all about missing people, anything at all. Quite possibly, I don't know what that means. Do you know with whom you communicated with? Probably friends. So you either email or you don't. Get to see, this is it. It's like he digs out of it, and he's digging a hole for himself. Continuing, that you had from 2010. I'm not even sure I have any. I'm just something saying. You are saying, did you ever? Quite possibly I could have said something about a missing girl found in Ocean Parkway. Girls missing, sorry. Would there be emails regarding Shannon Gilbert that you had? I don't know, honestly. I could have said something. That's possible. I really don't know. Did you maintain a computer in 2010? Yes. What kind of computer did you have then? What kind? It's a tower. Okay, but what brand of computer was it? Oh God. Question, Apple? No. AT&T? Shit, I don't know. The manufacturer, it was a tower. Did you communicate via computer with anyone in 2010? Yes, of course. Did the police ever ask you for anything with respect to the computer? No. Who's Dawn Scalise? Dawn? That's Joe's daughter. Joe Scalise's daughter, senior's daughter. So it's Joe Scalise's sister, right? Correct. It's confusing. And she lives in Oak Beach, to the best of my knowledge. What, if anything, did you know, did Dawn Scalise have to do with the mosquito ditches in the marsh? Oh, okay. Mosquito ditches, eh? I have no idea. Did you ever hear that she had anything to do with mosquito ditches? She said she did, yes. Question, who did she say that to? To our meeting that we had in the association. When did the meeting happen? More or less. Almost 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. 2 to 3 years ago. He still lives in Long Island, by the way, so. And that would it be in the years 2000, and he doesn't remember. He doesn't answer the rest of the question. He gets answered. It could have been further than that. 2010. Dates can't confirm. answer what they were doing with the association regarding the ditches. A, that they were going to get rid of them, clear out dredges. Oh my gosh. That's why they got found, I reckon, as well. We cut all that down and it exposed a lot. Thanks to Shannon, unfortunately. When Dawn said this at the meeting, were you present? Yes, I was. Was Peter Hacket there as well? I don't remember. Was Barbara Hacket there? I don't remember. Was your wife there? No. Do you know if those ditches were ever cleaned out? Yes. How do you know? I saw them clean them out. When? Again, I don't remember dates. 2010? It had to be before that. So, the ditches were cleared out before Shannon got there. I mean, even with them, I find it hard to believe there would have been sinking points in that ground. You know? It's a decent marsh, don't get me wrong, but I live by marshland. I know it's over the way from Wales. Now it's about 2 miles to cross it, but you can do it. But we just don't do it because of the sinking sand in this country. Sinking holes and stuff like that. It's happened certain times a year, certain times are better than others. I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend crossing over to Wales, by the way. Don't do that. I will try and help you remember. Were the ditches cleaned out before Shan after disappeared? I don't remember. You know that. Because I know where you're going, because they had that ditch cleaned going in and out of the meadow. Was it before that? I don't remember. Question, who is they? I know they cleared it out. I know they cleared it out. Who is they? When you said they had a ditch cleared, it's called a mosquito. I can't think of the name. It's part of Suffolk County vector control because it's mosquitoes. So it's down to the government to have cleared that up. Fair enough. Yes, you can check with them. That's the best way to go about it, not me. It's interesting. Did you come to learn that Peter Hacket told the people from Vector Control to get off his property? Oh my God. Oh wow. Okay, and Sean's body's there? No, I never heard that. Question, never heard that. Answer, no. Question, were you a friend of Barbara Brannan? Yes. How would you describe friendship with her? We're close. How long have you been close with Barbara Brannan? She moved about 6 months after I moved into the community. So we've known each other for 30 years now. You know her husband? Yeah, Frank, yes. Did she have children? No. Okay. Strange. I'm not saying strange not having children, I just think it's interesting. Did you service her property as a landscaper? A couple of times, yes. That's why I put her on the list, yes. Got ingrown hair in my head. It's really painful. I've got to get it out. saying. Did you service her property? Yes, a couple of times. Why? That's why her name's on the list. They must have a list of people. Is she a friend of your wife's? Yes. And who is Karen Gambino? Karen is another resident of the community and a friend. Were you aware that Peter Hacket writes poetry? Wow. I didn't know that. Peculiar. No. Did he ever communicate with you or your children or your wife in a poetic form? No. What did you do to get ready for this deposition that you are here for today? Made phone call to your office? Other than that, came here. Seems very straightforward, really, but I don't know where this is going. Anything else? No. Did you talk to Barbara Hacket? No. Did you talk to Peter Hacket? No. When is the last time you talked to Peter Hacket? I don't know, 8 months ago. And what did you talk about with him 8 months ago? I don't remember. Did you talk to him about Shannon Gilbert issue? No, we don't talk about that much. Okay, but you talked about it. Did you talk to him about the case that brings you here today? No, not really. Because I don't want to be involved. Well, we can see that, mister. You know what I mean? Did he attempt to talk to you about the case? I don't think so. What about his wife? Did she? She asked if I was going, when you came to my house. What we talked about, that's about it. As much as I talked to Barbara about. Are you speaking of the first time John Ray came to your home, or the second time? The first time. What did you tell Barbara Hacket in respect? Just that you had to come over and question me about what happened that morning, and I told you. What did you tell Barbara Hacket? That's just what I told Barbara Hacket, that you had asked me questions about that morning, and I told you everything I knew about it. How did that come up between you? I don't know how she knew about it. To tell you the truth, I don't really know. It's a bit strange how she knew. She came to you and asked you about it. It could have been in passing conversation. It wasn't like she came over and called and said specifically that she had to talk to a lawyer. Well, hang on a minute. It wasn't like she came over or called and said specifically that I had to call a lawyer. Where was she and where were you when you had that conversation? I don't remember. Okay. Then talks about his best friend. How long? Good friend, something else. He was one of my customers. It grew to a friendship. A good close friendship. No. Question. And Gus Cae, was he a friend of yours? Yes. How would you describe your friendship with Gus Cae? We were close. He was a Met fan. I'm a Met fan. I don't know what that means. We used to get together and watch games together. I mean, not saying that people... I mean, you could be a hard gangster and be totally against killing. I mean, I always feel that that's against their law. You know what I mean? Their aspect. So it just seems strange that these guys are around this situation in Oak Beach. You must want to be really kept out of it, and I understand why. And you can tell reading these depositions that you have nothing to do with it, but it's not helping if you keep your mouth shut. He was contacted a year afterwards after Shannon went missing. Question: at any time from the time she disappeared until that time that the police contacted you, did you ever communicate with any member of the police department regarding Shannon? That morning? What morning? That morning that she was... Hang on. That morning, what morning, that she was at Barbara Brannan's house. That morning was the 1st of May. Is that accurate? Yes. Other than the time you spoke to the police the morning that Shannon Gilbert was at Barbara Brannan's house, and the time that you spoke to the police later that year. What was she doing at her house? I'm going to have to read Barbara Brannan's statements now. Jesus Christ. What do you guys think? I'm going to read on and see what comes from this, because this is getting really interesting and I just wanted just to know. Okay. Let's have a look at Barbara Brown's statement. Red affidavit. I mean, why would this man lie? I won't do that, bitch, because I'll start putting my music on that loud. People slamming next door. I swear to God, they haven't been here 5 minutes, like back, slamming doors. When they're talking fucking dead loud and shouting at their own baby, I'm not like saying shit, you know? Anyway. Okay, I don't think I've read this. The affiant resides at 4. Hang on, let's get that dress off. On May 1st, 2010, I reside with my mother. Alright, so this is the lady who answered the door to Shannon, and she had her mother there, so she didn't want to answer the door to her. So he must have saw her at Brannan's. I don't get it. Okay. On May 1st, let's just read it. On May 1st, 2010, I was asleep at midnight until about between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. when I was woken by the sound of knocking. Hang on. My blanket. Like hanging on the fucking wall, and she proper hates me. I've never been hated so much. Knocking on the door. I believe I had been sleeping on the living room couch. My mother was asleep in the bedroom. At first I thought I was dreaming when I heard the knock. When I arose and went down the hall in the kitchen towards the front door, I was wearing pyjamas. The knocking was fast. The kitchen door had an outer screen door. This screen door had been moved, I noticed. Although it had been locked, the glass kitchen door had brass lever type handles which were horizontal. Upon the glass kitchen door hung a wreath on the inside of the door. As I entered the kitchen, I could see a human face through the wreath. I observed that a young woman in her 20s was looking into my house through the wreath. The outdoor lights on the property were not on because they went off automatically when it became daylight. It was light enough outside. See? It was light. It was light. There's no chance of it drowning. Do you understand me? That makes a lot of even more clear to me, that Shannon. It was light enough outside that at the time for me to see the young woman. There was a street light near Mr. Sal Averso's property. Versano's property, which to my recollection was not on. Mr. Aversano was my neighbour. His property adjoined mine to the east. I was able to see the young woman, whom I now know as Shannon Gilbert, as plain as day because it was daylight. No flashlight was needed outside to see. She was knocking on the kitchen window saying, "Let me in, I'm in danger." She had straight frosted hair with brownish blonde bangs. She did not look dishevelled. She was not crying. I'm not sure if she wore makeup. I could see her ears, which were covered with hair. I did not see any jewellery. I did not see any bruises on her. She wore white short-sleeved top, which came down to her waist, or a little below her waist. It had a baby doll look and loose fitting. She had an average breast size. She wore black jeans. None of her clothes appeared to have been soiled. On her feet she wore black ballet-type slippers and shoes, so no heels. I didn't see any jackets upon or near her. I did not see a pocketbook. She did have a cell phone in one hand. The phone could have been black, but I am not sure of the colour. The young woman was pacing back and forth upon the deck outside my kitchen. I asked, "Who are you?" She did not answer the question. Thereupon I went to the phone in the kitchen and the desk and dialed 911. After reporting the incident to 911 operator, I immediately called the Cannings, my neighbours across the street. I know that the Cannings were early risers. I connected with Tom Canning Sr. I told him that someone was trying to break into my house, and I told him to send someone over. He said he would bring his dog with him. While I was speaking to Tom Canning, I looked down at the desk. When I looked up again, the young woman was gone. She had been standing at the top of the deck stairs with her cell phone, pushing its buttons. The cell phone was an ordinary flap phone. Within a minute to 5 minutes of the call, Tom Canning, he said, he and his wife, Eleanor Canning, came over to my kitchen. I opened the door and let them in. They were not accompanied by their son Justin Canning, nor anyone else. I do not recall if they brought their dog, or I don't recall what they were wearing. Both of them were dressed, as it was a nice day and it was not raining. Tom said to me that he would go out and look around. I remained in the kitchen with Eleanor at the time. When Tom returned 15 minutes to half an hour later, he said that he had seen wet footprints upon my deck, which went around the west side of my house, going towards south, but did not continue down any stairs. He said that he went to the beach but didn't see anything. Justin Canning was never present. Tom told me that the police came and he spoke to the police at the end near the street of the drive. The police did not enter my property to look at any footprints. Tom said that he didn't see anything. I didn't see Dr. Hacket that morning. I did not see Gus Coletti that morning. I do not recall telling anything to Tom Canning. I never spoke with Dr. Hacket about the incident of the morning of the 1st. Dr. Hacket did not ever come to discuss the incident with me. I heard through the grapevine that the young woman had been to Gus Coletti's as well. I do not believe that Dr. Hacket or his wife were Catholics. I am a Catholic. I attend Mass locally. I never saw them at Mass. Okay. Barbara Hacket never sought to reach out to me to discuss the 1st of May incident. Neither Dr. Hacket nor Barbara ever came to my house to discuss the incident or the woman. I wonder why she mentioned a Catholic. Why have they said they were or something? They could post as liars or something. I just don't get it. Okay, I'm going to leave it here, and if anything pops up, I'm going to come back on and I'll let you know. Please subscribe and like the channel. Take care.